Welcome to EnigmaCast, everybody. And just when I think I can't get much better, what do? I go out there and I get just a little bit better. Scoured the internet, scoured the world. You know how I do. I got friends in Australia. I got friends in New Zealand. I got friends everywhere. And now I got a friend from across the pond. Everybody, I want to introduce Tommy. Tommy, thank you for coming on the show.
And man, thank you.
And before we get into this, Tommy he's on Instagram. He has a great channel. It's called Let's Get Freaky Podcast, right?
Yes, sir.
And his disclaimer that makes me chuckle is that it's not what you think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great channel. Tommy, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, brother.
Yeah. Before we get into this, man, tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, so we're on all the main podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us. We're also on YouTube now as well.
Excellent.
Let's Get Freaky, and we're on all the social media platforms: Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, all of them, man. There's so many.
These are places you ain't even heard about. That's how big this guy is, right? That's how huge it is. So yeah, Tommy, I will put that all in the description, man. We'll have that loaded up and all the content we push you guys. And if you go and look at I've been told, Tommy, I don't know if you're running this. I've been told that I'm a follow back snob. I've literally been told that, right? And so it's not by design that but like you have to you have to get my attention, right? For me to follow you. And it's usually not the serious channels. If you can't laugh a little bit, I'm probably not going to follow you, man. So but anyways. So
it's
Tommy, I get that.
When I first started with Let's Get Freaky, I used to follow everyone back.
Right.
And then I started getting like phone calls from random, because people can call you for Instagram. Right. I was like, oh man. And I was getting phone calls and I was like, I just can't follow everyone back now, which is horrible because I want to follow everyone back.
Right.
But you can't. There's a lot of psychos out there.
They are, man. And so I actually had to. So I had to do something that I told myself I wasn't going to do, man. I was like, I have to leave people on unread because some of you guys, look, some of you guys, man, you cross a line every now and then. I don't know how to say it any nicer than that, man. So like, I won't block you, but like, if you've been in there for 3 months and I haven't read you, yeah, it's not coming. So anyways, Tommy, man, glad to hear. I'm glad to have you here, man. I'm so excited, man. 100% value added. You're making me look great for at least an hour. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you, brother. No, you're doing a wonderful job, man. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. And I got to tell everybody the secret sauce is I have no idea what I'm doing, right? None whatsoever.
Neither do I.
Yeah, no idea what I'm doing, right? So people are like, man, you're doing great. And I'm like, thank you. I'm just going to pretend like, yeah, I'm doing good.
I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing, right? Yeah. Not a clue. As a matter of fact, I did a post the other day. I was talking about it, man. I'm not lying. I get 5 legitimate emails a week. People telling me that I'm doing something wrong, right? You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. They're like, yeah, your hashtags are wrong. And I'm like, if I knew what hashtags were, I'd get in there and fix those, man. I'm like, all right, yeah, thanks for the comeback. Yeah. But anyways, Tommy, a lot of my followers are down south, and I'm going to say, this guy sounds funny, man. No, this is what education sounds like, heathens, all right? So we grew up if you grew up in the Appalachian Mountains, you sound like me. If you grew up across the pond, you go to Cambridge. Because when I was growing up, so real quick, Tommy, tell everybody where you're from.
So I am from Essex, which is basically right next to London. So I say I'm from London. That's where I worked. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much, Essex and London are very close, pretty much the same. So I'm from there. I live now in Dorset, which is about 2 hours from London, which is a lot more countryside-y, old castles. I know there's a lot of history in London as well, obviously, but I'm more I'm by the sea now. I'm by the sea.
All right.
In Dorset, in Poole. So yeah, that's where I'm from, man.
So let me tell you,
that's
man.
That's the funny voice.
No, it's great, man. So I grew up down south, right? And this is funny. I'm gonna share a little childhood secret. And I know some of you. So, look, man, some of you rednecks will follow my channel. I know y'all thought the same way as I did growing up, man. When I grew up in the South, man, when we only had like 3 channels on TV, right? And when we would very rarely hear anybody speak from the UK, right? And we all thought that if you spoke like that, you were all rich and you all went to private boarding schools and you all rode horses, right? We just had this whole like you had this big.
I wish.
Yeah, you had this great big. That's how we grew up, man. All my friends like, yo, man, I know that they're like, like dog hunting foxes with shotguns and like dog. that's how I grew up, man. Until like easily, it's embarrassing to say, man. Until I was probably 17, man. I thought, okay, man, they're just like they just like us over there. Right? But yeah, that whole time, man. I know I'm not the only person in the South that grew up thinking that way. Because me and my buddies, man. So yeah,
we're normally the bad guys in the films. Like in all the films,
right?
The English are normally the bad guys. The British, they're always bad.
You make the best villains, man. The best super villains, man. Oh, that's awesome, Tommy. Thanks for coming on, dude. Your channel's amazing. So, I got some few vanilla questions that I asked that people tell me to ask. So, to be a good interviewer, so, Tommy, what got you into this lifestyle, man? Podcasting, cryptids, all that stuff. Hit us, brother.
Yeah. Well, I've always been fascinated by the paranormal. Everything, ghosts, cryptids, UFOs. It's always fascinated me. And I've shown a real interest in it, obviously. And I started listening to other podcasts. And at first, it's weird because I never used to I've had paranormal experiences, and I never really used to like talking about it. Obviously, my family knew, and I did talk about it a little bit when the conversation come up. But I felt like if you talk about this stuff, you're inviting it more, basically. And it used to worry me. So I used to be like, I'm not going to talk about it. But I used to listen to podcasts and hear people sharing their experiences, and I was like, man, I love this. I love talking about this stuff, and I want to do it. I want to do it all the time. I want to be talking to people and sharing experiences. I love hearing people's experiences and weird stuff that happens to them. So I was like, let's go. Let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
So it's always been a dream, and it was sort of something that I talked about for a long time, and then I think, that time in 2020 happened. It changed the world for a lot of people, and definitely for me as well. And I was like, you know what? You don't have tomorrow anymore.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed. So start that podcast. Let's go. And I've not looked back.
Well, man, I tell you what, dude, your content's really good, and I like it's really good. It's very interesting.
Oh, thank you.
And also man. And I could tell, man, that your content has a lot of care in it, man, because you like the graphics are good. I know it's crazy, man. It's things. When I first got into what got me into this, man, is like the same time. Like I started it as a troll, right, as a joke, right. Like I created this character back there, right there, called Professor Anthony Augustus, right, and the bastard son of Indiana Jones, right. And so I was bored, and I thought for fun, I just went and I made a video about how it was impossible for the Egyptians to have built the pyramids, right? I posted it up on I made an Instagram account. I posted it up. I made like 8 people related to me follow, and I posted that video. And I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, and my wife was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like you've got like 1,500 followers, and that's got like 80,000 views, right? So wow. if you go to my Instagram channel and you I pinned it up there on my profile. I was that, and I was like, all right, man. I was like, man, but I'm like I'm kind of trolly, you know what I'm saying? So that wasn't serious. So then, man, it just kind of like I said, my cousin was like, hey, man, let's do a podcast, and I was like, okay, I don't know how to do a podcast, right? And he was like, me neither. So yeah, man. So now I love it, man. So it's amazing, right? So I was like, and I tell everybody when I blow up and I get 1 million followers on YouTube, I'm not going to say anything. But there'll be signs.
Yeah, your graphics are awesome, man, as well. That's cool.
Thank you. So Drewski sent these over there, man. So I think you got a couple behind your head there too, man.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Drewski. Let's have a look.
Yeah, man.
See more. Oh, I love his work, man. Awesome.
So thank you. And this guy named Doug Thornton, man, helped me out with the American Vendetta podcast on YouTube. Is really good, man. He helped me out with these backgrounds here, man. So Yeah, man.
Awesome.
I figured out as I go, dude, and but like I've never had so much fun making mistakes, right? So and just dig into it.
Yeah, for sure. But that was the thing that always put me off at the start. So I didn't start. I've been doing the podcast now
Mm,
for uh, just over 2 years, just come up to 2 years,
mm.
and the thing that scared me at the first was like the technical side.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't have a clue about microphones, editing stuff, and I really that sort of was the thing that was like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that, and I still don't really know what I'm doing. But you learn as you go, and I know a little bit more now, obviously, but
Yeah, bro. So yeah, I went through the same thing, man. Like people were like, "Oh no, it's do X, Y, and Z," and I'm like, "All right." First of all, I watched like 20 hours of YouTube videos and got paralysis analysis. Right, like the worst video to ever click on YouTube is top 5 video editors to use, and I'm like, "Huh?" So like
I know.
yeah, man. So I ended up picking the free one, right? So
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
DaVinci Resolve 18. And when I tell you, the people are like, oh man, you can make lightsabers with that. And I'm like, uh-huh. I use about 0.01% of the capacity of that video editor, man. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing, right? So yeah, it's totally the same way, man. My microphone is trash. I'm sure people keep telling me to upgrade my cameras.
Nice. Sounds good, man. Looks good.
So yeah,
Sounds good.
we'll figure it out as we go, man. Hey, so yeah,
That's
figure it
it.
out as we go. That's awesome.
That's,
All right.
that's what I found fun. You got to enjoy that journey of learning.
Yeah.
It can be quite stressful, but if you just enjoy it and just embrace that you're going to make mistakes, that
Yeah.
you're going to get a bit of hate, that things are not going to be perfect, and just
Yeah.
go for it anyway. Just crack on.
So yeah, man, I'm the same way, dude. That's why I think we're built for this, man. Because I don't know why, man. Like when people say mean things to me, man. Like if they ding me good, I kind of like, yo, man, that's pretty funny. It's like, yeah,
Same.
I can see that. Right? I can see that, man. So this makes me laugh, man, to keep rolling with it. All right, but anyways, so cool. Tommy, out of born and raised in Essex, outside of London. Moved out to the islands, man. All right. Into the Cryptid. Started the podcast 2 years ago. All right, man. So that's all the niceties now. Enough of that crap, man. How you doing? Where you from? Or whatever. That's how nerds talk, Tommy. That's how nerds.
Yeah.
Let's get into this,
Let's
man.
get into the real stuff.
Let's get into this. I want to know, man. I want to know. I've been all over Southeast Asia, man. I've been in more countries than I've been in states in America. I lived overseas for 9 years, several years
Oh, wow.
below the South Equator, and I've never been to London. Never been to England. I've never been anywhere over there, right? And so I don't know anything about it, right? And so, but I want to get into, man. You got to share me, man. We got to talk about. Give me some. We call them English. What's the proper word for a cryptid over there? What would you guys call them? English cryptid, a UK cryptid?
Wow. Just cryptid as well, to be
It's
honest.
cryptid, right?
I mean, yeah, same.
Tommy, I feel let down, man. You don't call them Sir Cryptids. You don't call them like
Sorry.
Sir Cryptids or Lord Cryptid. Like, all right. So just cryptids, all right.
We should. You're right. I don't know why we don't, but
Right. These cryptids are special.
yeah, they're just cryptids as well. They're just
Right.
cryptids. I know. Boring. But obviously in the UK, we've got Nessie is the most famous.
Famous.
I think Nessie's probably, other than Bigfoot, is probably people
Oh,
that
yeah.
are not interested in cryptids and stuff. I think Nessie is like, most people know about the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
And obviously Bigfoot as well.
Do you have Bigfoots in the United Kingdom?
Well, I've talked to people that claim to have seen them in the UK.
Really?
I feel like for me personally, and especially in like a lot seem to happen be sighted in Scotland and places like that. Me personally, at the moment, my opinion changes every day.
Right.
But at the moment, I feel like if they're here in the UK, and I've talked to a lot of people that have seen them, I feel like it's more of a supernatural element if they're here in the UK.
Yeah. No. You keep pulling that thread, brother, because you're absolutely right about that. So I've been, during my journey here, I was educated with the Bigfoots, that there's 11 types of Bigfoots, right? And the first one would, depending on their characteristics in North America, when you get higher up towards Alaska and especially the west coast of Canada, they're much, much larger. And in the Americas, when you head south and you get down towards Louisiana, they get a little bit smaller, but they get meaner. And there's 3-toed variants and these 5-toed variants. But one thing that's very specific about Alaskan Bigfoots is that there always are either massive sightings of orbs prior to or after, right? And there's this one story. This guy from Alaska, was him and his wife. They were camping, and they weren't in a remote place. It was like a designated like camping area, right? It's not like they're out there in the outback or the woods or anything. And he said he watched 3 orbs drifting through the trees. He was sitting around his camper outside on a couple lawn chairs with the fire, and he's like, next thing he knew, there was 3 Bigfoot standing there. They were just there, right? And he was like, okay. He says he didn't get scared. He says, that they were easily 8-9 feet tall because he was like 6'5". He says, I didn't even get out of my chair. They had some type of like non-verbal communication with their eyes, and they left like that. They just orbed out and left, man. It's really good, man. It's a really good story on that, and it's also I've heard people tell me stories. Drew on the Cryptid Warfare podcast, he had a lady. I want to say that she was from somewhere out there, Arkansas, or I'm getting it wrong, Oregon. She said the same thing. Her husband was seeing Bigfoots and orbs as well at the same time. Anyways, so yeah, okay, well, that's good. All right, man. So got a little Bigfoot action over there.
Yeah. Bigfoot, Dogman. I mean, there seems to be. We've got quite a lot of legends and lore, cryptids. Obviously, we got the fairies and stuff like that as well, yeah. which people see. So yeah, man, we've got a lot over here too.
So yeah, so I'm really big, and I've been reading this book over here. It's the 54 Apocryphae of the books that were taken out of the Bible, and the Book of Enoch was in there. And in the Book of Enoch, I don't know if you're familiar with it. There's a chapter called the Book of Giants, and in the Book of Giants, it basically says that the Watchers, when they came down, they created the Fae, right? So all the fairies and the centaurs and all this other stuff that you see or that you hear that's going on, those were real. So I mean, and we know that the Great Flood did happen, and the remnants of those things did survive. Yeah, and so yeah, man. So you got the fairies over there, and another thing too that I read a really good. You said a lot of activity goes on in the north. That's where Scotland's at, right? Up in that area. I read a theory that I'm still trying to get more research on before I do a podcast on it. Is that the real reason why they built Hadrian's Wall? And for people who don't know what Hadrian's Wall is that the Romans built a wall. Maybe it was Emperor Hadrian. You can help me out. Can you explain that to me a little bit, Tommy?
Hadrian's I'm not too sure, man.
So I know that
I should know about that.
So they built the wall, right, called Hadrian's Wall, right? And people said that they built the wall because the Romans couldn't conquer that northern part of the island. And people recently have come to say that, okay, so the Romans can conquer everything else, but they can't get the last half of like this island. And the reason why they're saying that is that there was supposedly, they built Hadrian's Wall because in the northern part of England there was a race of men with dog heads, and there are several, and these were fierce, vicious warriors, right? And if you go and look, there are several, especially in English art, several depictions of knights killing men with dog heads, and dog-headed men eating the people, right? And they were saying that there was a race of people living north in the UK that were basically dog-headed people, right? And then there's actually one. You'll also find a lot of pictures of a dog-headed saint, and so yeah, so it's a thing. It's a thing that I'm tugging on there, Tommy. So like I said, man. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But anyways,
have you heard of Andy Decodes?
No, huh?
He's got a YouTube channel. He's a good friend of mine as well. He had an experience where I believe he was in Ipswich in the UK, and he was driving during the day, and he came across this forested area, and he said he saw standing there. It looked like he described it as like a dog soldier. So
Really?
he saw, yeah.
Oh man.
He said it was like wearing clothes. It had a dog canine head, and he said, he saw it. Obviously, he's shocked because he's seen this, and it didn't last long, and it disappeared. And I think he got out the car, checked where it was, and it looked like, so there was a big, it was sort of a hill. So this thing was huge.
Wow.
Was standing down. I'm not explaining this great because he'd be better to explain it, but he saw that.
Wow.
And he described it as looking like a dog soldier, super soldier.
I tell you what, man, like there's historical facts over there and to back it up, man. So people are starting to come out, man, and I'm looking into it. So I'm putting together a video on that. That's awesome, man. You know what else? It just dawned on me too, man. Like cryptid hunters in the UK, man. You guys are made of tougher stuff, man, because y'all don't have any guns over there, right?
No, no, we're not allowed. I mean, you can have guns. I've got friends that have got guns. My dad's got a gun,
right.
But it's a lot stricter. So like, you can't walk around the street with your gun.
Oh, bro.
You have to go to certain places to shoot. You have to, if you have a gun in your house, you've got to keep the bullets locked away somewhere else. The gun locked away on the other side of the house. Yeah. It's very strict. Very strict to have a gun.
Oh man, our cryptid hunts over here, man. We're going in like Navy SEALs, bro.
I know. You've all got guns, man.
Yeah, man. Like nah, like I can't imagine that. I cannot imagine that, dude. I grew up in the Appalachian mountain range, man, on the border between Tennessee, Virginia, and North Carolina. And the stories that I would hear coming out of there, man, I would like, no shot would I go in there with a stick.
Yeah.
And a stick and a can-do attitude, man. No, I'm not built for that, man.
Some spray.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, some bear mace or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. That's a great story, man. So, anyways, Tommy, man, tell me, you personally, I got two questions here for you. Tell me what your favorite cryptid is in the UK.
That is a difficult question, man. Favorite cryptid? I mean, my favorite cryptid of all is Bigfoot. Yeah. Like my dream is to see a Bigfoot one day. I would love that. Okay. That's my dream. I'd love to see a Sasquatch. In the UK, I'd have to say Nessie. I think just because it's the most famous, and I'd love to see that as well. Any cryptid I would love to see. Yeah. It would be incredible. I mean, I've had, and I say this, so this is I've had a couple of experiences that you could sort of put down as possibly cryptids. Want me to tell you them?
Yeah. So, but let me explain something real quick to the people watching my channel. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Nessie is the Loch Ness Monster. In America, we don't have lochs, we have lakes, right? And so I don't think people really grasp how big that loch is, right?
Oh, it's huge.
It's huge. It is huge. And so like just to give a size comparison, it's probably equivalent to, it's probably not as big as the Great Lakes that we have in the US, but it is on that size. People go out on that loch and a storm rolls up and their boats sink and they die. Right, and that just doesn't really happen on too many lakes down here in the South. But like, so yeah, that Loch Ness Monster, man, that's a great one. I've seen some photos, right? Mm-hmm. Same ones everybody else has probably seen, and it just, and what cracks me up is that when people are like, oh, those are fake, and I'm thinking, do you know how incredibly hard it would have been to fake that back in the day? You know what I'm saying? Like when they were in the red rooms with the dipping, you know what I'm saying? You know how hard that would have been, right? Yeah. It's like, how? Like, how do you fake that, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, and to put it in perspective as well, Loch Ness, like the lake, has got more water in that than there is in the whole of the whole of England and Wales put together. What? So there's more water in that than all the lakes of England and Wales.
Yeah. That is amazing.
I read that today, funny enough.
That is crazy. That is wild. That is a good fact, man. Here, and you think we were here for the jokes, huh? We just taught you Enigma something, huh? There you go, right?
We know some facts.
That'll win you a drink if you use it right in a proper bar, right? If you use it right. So yeah, man, and the size of that lake too. Like the best theory that I've ever heard about the Loch Ness is that it was it got trapped during the Great Flood, right? And that how it was in there. And I actually don't think I actually don't think it's just one. That's just me being a nerd, right? Like
No, I agree.
I think it's actually probably a little bit more going on. I guarantee you. Well, one thing I can tell you from doing these investigations and talking to people, 100% there's more going on there than what you think there. If you think that's just one thing cruising around, right? And people all the time like, oh, it's been extinct, man. They find things once a week that's been extinct on this planet, man, that just shows back up, right? So no, it's a great one, great story. We love you, Nessie. Big hearts to Nessie. Big
100%, mate. I like you. I think they're all around the world.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
think they're just.
Yeah.
You got Lake Champ. Is it Champ?
What's that?
You got is it Champ in Massachusetts, I believe, is it?
Man, we got so much weird crap over here, man. Like so like my buddy Sasquatch Steve put a video out talking about a dog-headed snake serpent in the lakes of New Jersey that I didn't know about. I thought it was funny until literally somebody sent me a picture of what it's on my Instagram that looks like a daggone sea dragon, like an old school sea dragon head coming out of the water. And I just like, I can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it. So yeah, man. So it's on my Instagram page, man. Go in there, check it out, man. It's like, I forget what they call it. They call it Okupogu. It's like the Native American term for it. Right?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And it looked like a daggone, like it looks like a dragon coming out of the water. And I was like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
And
it sort of looks like it could be like a wolf face as well.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly right. So I've done some fishing in my time, man, and I've seen some things float up to the surface, and that ain't nothing I've ever seen before, right? And so I'm not swimming in that lake anymore. So, but yeah, so I'm like you too. I think it's all over the place, and I think that not to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but I actually think that something has happened on our planet, and things have started to wake up. And things have started to progress. Some people will try to tell me that, oh no, CERN jumped the timeline. I don't know if you ever heard that theory or not. And so they merged the timelines. It explains the Mandela effect. But when we jumped into the timelines, these creatures that used not to be here, they're here. And we're just the biggest surprise to them as they are us. And I'm like, okay. Other people are saying that another one I hear is the Anunnaki's returning. Jesus is returning. All this other stuff's going on. All the things that live in the earth are coming out of the earth now. So one thing I try to do as a baseline on the channel is like, okay, all those theories are great, but people try to come and hate. You can't hate, man. You have to admit at a baseline level, something is happening, right? Something's going on, right? So if you, and like I say, man, if you can't at least admit that something's happening, we're not the channel for you, man. Go catch Pokemons 3 channels down. Do what you got to do. What you got to do. But yeah, Tommy. Anyways, but yeah, man. Please tell me that story, brother. That you was about to tell me.
Yeah. So my sort of, and I'll say this before. I'm not saying that this is definitely what I'm about to tell you. It is. I'm not sure. I don't know. But so I'll start from the start. So I moved into this house. Coming up to 3 years at Christmas. When I first moved here,
I'm scared. You got me. I'm scared.
Oh, so again, the lights are down.
Turn lights back. Turn lights back.
This is going to get a little freaky. Yeah, for sure.
Let's get a little freaky, Tom. Let's get a little freaky.
Let's get freaky.
All right. Hit on, brother. Sorry to interrupt you, man. I had to set the mood. All right, go ahead.
Cool. Dim the lights, get the candles on. Yeah, so when I first moved here, we didn't know anyone in this area. Didn't know much about this area at all. We looked at the house. We saw it had a lovely forest behind it, and we're like, yeah, that's the one for us. Let's go. We moved in, and yeah, so we don't know anyone in this area. So for the first few months, I'd left my job in London to come here. So I wasn't working for the first couple of months, and I was sort of like, that was when I was like, oh, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, I used to hear, so I'm always been like a night out. I'll stay up late all through the night. And I used to hear a growling outside the house, outside the window, literally outside the window. And so I'm in the front room watching telly, and I'm hearing a growl, and it just sounds like a big dog, and it might be a big dog. I'm not saying it's, but it's weird. Anyway, so I'm hearing this growl.
It's never a big dog. It's always something
No.
horrible. It's always something horrible, brother. It's never a big dog.
A lot of people have dogs around here, so I've assumed, and I know that there was a big Rottweiler that was just
Right.
across the road, and I always used to just think, must be that dog, man. They let him out at night. I wouldn't like to be out there because if it's a Rottweiler, it's a big dog. I wouldn't want to run into him. Anyway, so I'm listening, and I was hearing this quite a lot, this growling outside the house. So one night I've looked, and I'm looking outside, can't see it, can't see anything. There's no one out there, can't see a dog. Growling stops when I look, but there's nothing there. So this happened a few times. Anyway, I'm looking, I started trying to see what I can see. Like, can I see a dog? And I never saw anything. Still could have been the neighbour's dog. I'm not saying it definitely wasn't something, I don't know. But anyway, so, and then the next weird thing that could be related to this is so we got a forest behind us that I take the dog in every day, and this is before we had a dog. I used to just take my daughters to the forest and we'd just have a little walk around. And it was getting late, like it was getting dusk, and it was near the time to turn back. But we was going up this hill, and my little girl was seeing something and freaked out. And I'm like, what's the matter, Rain? What's going on? And she is 11 at the time. And she was like, Dad, I've just seen a Bigfoot, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, you've not seen a Bigfoot. Calm down. Like I'm thinking in my head now, it's getting dark. She's probably thinking scary stuff, freaked herself out. She's watched one of my documentaries that she shouldn't have watched because I'm always watching Bigfoot stuff. So that's just what I put it down to. I was listening to her because obviously I'm not going to say she's definitely not seen something. So she's explained it, and she said it was really just looked like a Bigfoot, had yellow eyes, and was staring at her, and it was across the way. Anyway, I couldn't see anything, and I'm like, let's go home. Anyway, that was the next sort of weird thing that happened with that forest. And then I was talking to someone at work. So I'd started working at this point, got a new job locally, and I was talking to a girl about doing the paranormal podcast and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, you'd love this book. It's got cryptids in it, ghosts and stuff. And it talks about the devil dog. I'm like, oh, the devil, that sounds interesting. She said, yeah, it's literally, the legend is that it's in our forest that's behind our house, right? So I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Right. And it's all sort of clicking in my head.
Right.
Like, I heard the growls. My daughter saw a possible something, Bigfoot. Right. Anyway, so I'm like, that's amazing. So she's telling me, I believe her dad had experienced stuff, but not too sure on that. But anyway, she said that people claim in the book to see this thing, and it's like a big black dog with red eyes. Some people just hear it, Sometimes it's just like a funny smell, just a typical standard Dogman stuff, basically. Right. But they call it devil dog. So I'm like, that's amazing, man. And I'm trying to do. There's not a lot of information out there on it. I'm trying to look into it more, but it's difficult. The girl said she was going to lend me this book, but you probably didn't want to lend it to me. I haven't got the book, but anyway. So the next thing that happened in that forest is so then we got a little puppy, got a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and I take him over there every day, and he's a year and a half now, and he's a fearless little dog. He's not scared of anything. He's so stupid. Like, he's not scared of people. He's not scared of other dogs. He runs at the balls in the field. He's got no fear, but he's a lovely dog. He's not a nasty dog.
It's funny you brought that up, man. To pause that real quick to give a shout out, man. Stafford Bull Terriers are the best dogs on the planet. And like, I'm not a dog guy, but if I was going to get a dog, man, it would be a Staffy, man. Those dogs are awesome dogs, man. I mean, they're the nicest dogs on the planet, man. And people think they're like these. No, they're not, man. And Stafford Terriers are good, man. Anyway, sorry. You just tugged my heartstrings, Tommy. Tugging my heartstrings, Tommy.
Yeah, they've got a really bad rep in here in the UK as well. Obviously, you can get nasty ones. It's the owners that are making them not. They're lovely family dogs. Like I've got three.
Yeah. So Stafford Bull Terriers, man, they're not pit bulls, right? They're not the pit bull. So over here we have a pit bull. We have a pit bull breed. They look very similar because they're kind of stocky, but these are the goofiest, happiest dogs on the planet, man. Like, the only damage you're gonna get is they're gonna lick you to death, man. They're awesome, bro. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. They're related to pit bulls, and they do look a bit like pit bulls. They're in the same line or whatever, but we're not allowed pit bulls in the UK.
Really?
We're not allowed guns or pit bulls. You know,
I don't have no fun over there, man. They're trying to get y'all killed.
It's boring, man. Yeah. That's why I'm coming to the US.
Let's go, man. Come on, man. Tommy, welcome to the US. Here's your first AR-15. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Got one for your daughters. Here we go. They're pink. They sell pink ARs over here, Tommy. Come on, man. You're good.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm coming. I'm 100% coming. I'm walking the dog one day, and my wife's there. The kids are there as well this day, and that's very normal. And we're walking to this certain part of the forest, and there's all different routes you can go in the forest, and we're on this route that we've been on before, and my dog just freaked out at nothing, right?
Wow.
So, like, when I say freaked out, I mean he proper backed up, didn't want to move forward, and it was like he could see something. And I'm like, Blue, what's the matter, man? Like, there's nothing there. And the kids are getting a bit worried because he's freaking out about something. And I literally had to pick him up and walk through this area, and got past this certain area, and he started walking normally again, back to normal.
Wow.
And I said to my wife, I've got to go back and just see if there's anything there, because that was weird. Like, what is he? Has he smelled something? But it was like he could see something. He was literally, but we couldn't see. It was just trees. I'm looking around, nothing's there. I couldn't see anything. But that was really weird. And he did that again. It was like a couple of months later or whatever it was, with my wife. He was walking in with a friend, and he just freaked out. And it's the only 2 times he's done it. Never done. It's very strange. And then this last thing was, so my daughter's got new bikes quite recently. This happened a little while ago, but I'd take them out every day on their new bikes down the forest, and they'd go different routes again. And there's this road, or a little pathway, basically. It's like half a mile long. And my girls just like riding their bikes down on their own, while I stand at the top and ride back, and it was getting late-ish again. It still was light. But the girls have gone down this path, and I'm just standing at the end watching. And all of a sudden I saw what I thought at first was a fox at the top. And I'm like, oh, that's a big fox. And it was like a grey colour. And I was like, no, it's not a fox. It looks like a big dog. I'm like, that's a dog. And I couldn't see any owner, though. And it was just a dog standing there. And my 2 daughters saw this and freaked out and just turned their bikes. My oldest one's come charging back. My littlest has fallen over. So I've ran to her. As I've got to her, whatever this thing was gone. But I didn't see any owner. I didn't hear any owner call the dog back or anything like that. Again, it could have been just a big dog.
Tommy, no, Tommy.
I know. No. But I said to my daughters, well, what did you see?
No.
Like, what was it? And they was like, we saw a big wolf. That was their words. And I was like, that's weird.
Nah.
So all these things put together.
You
knowing.
Yeah, brother. You subconsciously have hit every plot point in a horror movie imaginable. Young couple escape the city. Wife, daughters, find a cabin.
Yeah.
And then the words, that's a lovely forest behind the house, right?
Yeah.
Locals try to give him a book about a Dogman, about a devil dog, hearing growls. Pets won't go through it.
That would make a great movie.
I'll tell you what, man, that's a movie right there, bro. And this thing's called a hell. What is it called? A devil hell? What is it?
They call it. So in this book,
yeah,
they call it the devil dog.
The devil dog.
Yeah. And it's basic. So at the start of the forest, there's like, they call it it's like a sort of a road, which is like red brick, and they call it the red brick road.
Right.
But it's not really a road. You can't drive your car in there or anything. It's literally just to walk or ride a bike or whatever. And then it sort of leads into the forest. And I've had friends that I work with now that say that they've walked home that way after work and stuff, and they've got weird vibes. They feel like, and it is like you're walking through a forest. It is scary.
How about a crossbow? Can I send you a crossbow, man? Can I crossbows, bow and arrows? Can you have those? Something make me feel better for you, man. Like
I've got a BB gun.
There we go. This is silver tips, some silver BBs.
Yeah.
Damn, Tommy, that is a story, bro. Wow. Dang,
it's
man.
weird. It's weird. And then I've got something else which might not be related, but this is weird as well. And this happened last year. And you could sort of maybe put this in the cryptid area, maybe. So where I work now is literally 30 seconds from my house, just over the road. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy for me to get to and from work. I work what they call the twilight shift. So I work in the evenings, basically, and finish at 1 a.m. UK time. That's why it's perfect for me to talk.
Yeah, it sounds
now.
good.
So I leave work and there's literally never anyone about. Like you might see the odd person every now and then, but it's very rare. You don't see people. So I'm walking home and it's obviously a very short walk. And I noticed a lady walking along. And I was like, oh, there's a lady about. That's a bit weird anyway, but not thinking too much of it. And she walked to the bus stop. And the bus stop is literally just right in front of my house. And as she walked into the bus stop, a fox came out the other side. So I turned, looked at me, and then run off, right? I was like, that's weird. But I just, in my mind, I'm like, the fox has seen this girl and got scared and just left the bus stop. Or weird that a fox is in a bus stop. But anyway, that's... So I've got round the bus stop, right? So I can't, at the moment... So as the moment she walked into the bus stop, I can't see her anymore. All I could see was this fox come out the other side of the bus stop. But as I've got round to the front, and this is the other weird thing as well, so at 1 o'clock in the morning, there's no buses in my area. They stop at 12. So I've walked past the bus stop and I've looked in, expecting to see a lady standing there, and there was no one there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yo.
Oh,
man.
And I still have no idea what that was.
Well, so
about.
I mean, actually, it's funny. It's funny that we're actually having this conversation in Japan. They have stories like that in Japan. In Japan, they believe. In Japan, it's very taboo. They don't talk about anything supernatural or cryptids, and they actually have them over there, right? And one of the things in Japan that they believe, people are going to chuckle on this. They believe in the demon fox over there, right? So I don't know if you ever saw the Naruto series where like one of the main plot points in that was that he had a demon fox inside of him, right? Mm-hmm. And that is amazing. And also too, like, and the moment you told me about that too, man, it literally triggers my mind over here. Like I've heard so many Skinwalker stories like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so are you familiar with what the Native American Skinwalkers stories?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first experienced that, I was just so confused. I was like, wow, where could the girl have gone? Like, there's nowhere, like, unless she was like, had the speed of,
Nah.
Where could she go? There was no, like, it's hard for me to explain, but there was nowhere that she could have run to.
No.
It was very strange. And then the fact that the fox has come out, I was like, and obviously I'm telling people about this. They're like, oh, maybe it's, as you said, a skinwalker.
Yeah, that's like, I would prefer the demon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I like, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to ever brush up against those things, but it's also too that, no, the probability of that, what's the probability of like a fox sitting there? She's walking. I mean, that's just too perfect, man. And it's just that.
It was weird.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, man. Like, I know our minds try to go everywhere, but to that, like, did I just see that? Like, did that just happen, right? And
I was doubting myself when I first saw it. I was like, "Nah, surely there's a logical explanation."
Right.
And I was really trying to go, and I'm still not saying like it's definitely. I don't know what it was. All I can know is that it was very strange.
No, I mean, like,
And
and look, so that, and that's where, I have a problem with other investigators, right? And you know how you know how you can tell that you're a true investigator? Because you just say words that most people, I say it a lot, man, is that it's like almost scared to say is like, I don't know, right? So like, I saw something, but I don't know. But like, if you see somebody like, no, that was actually a a class 4 red purple demon from the summon.
yeah,
Man, you don't know that stuff, man. Shut up, man. Where'd you see that at, man? Like, nah, like, I saw something, man, and I don't know what it is, and it freaked me out.
yeah,
That's awesome, and I will never come visit you because I can't bring my gun. You can come visit me. We'll go shooting. We'll teach you how to do everything over here, man. We'll teach you all. We
yeah.
got all the big toys, man. But like, it's crazy. Let me go back to that devil dog. I didn't know anything about a Dogman until about a year ago, right? And I came across some people were telling me about some things. I just always was. I knew about werewolves, right? But I didn't know about like the Dogman or the Dogman phenomena, for lack of a better word. And so people were telling me that you have a werewolf. The difference between them is what they were telling me is that a werewolf can't control when it shifts, right? Like it'll shift during a certain cycle. When a dogman can shift at will. And then you have these hybrid dogmen who are just full-time dogmen, right? And I was like, man, y'all know a lot about dogmen, right? And so they were telling me, man, that the one of the best ways to actually hunt dogmen is that dogmen, a type of them, actually sleep in mounds, right? In forests, like you were saying. So they don't sleep in caves if they can't find a cave, they will build like a mound, like a dirt mound into the ground, right? And it'll be like all kinds of sticks and stuff on it. But it'll have like, imagine a mud igloo, bro. And that's what it would remind you of trying to go in there to look at it. And so if you ever want to sharpen up a stick, man, and go in there and look for a dogman mound, man, you probably got a good chance of actually bumping into one over there. So
Yeah, well, I go to the forest every day. I take my dog walking there every day.
Mm-hmm.
I do plan to do some night investigations in there.
Mm-hmm.
I've not done that yet. I've been in there at night, and it is any forest at night is pretty scary. But I want to do it properly. I want to go around night vision and just sort of see what I see, see what I can see.
So yeah, Tommy, do you have night vision goggles and stuff like that you could take in there with him?
I don't yet. No, I haven't yet. I haven't got any equipment really to.
Tommy, you know what you need? You know what you need, Tommy? You need some time in America. You understand? America. You understand?
I do.
Because you need some time in America, man. We got to get you kitted out, man. We got to get you some nods, man, some batteries, some good communication, a drone, probably a good, get you into some calibers that you probably want to take into the woods over there with you. So yeah, man. So we need to get you over here, man. I can't send you into a dog man with a lighter and some hairspray. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's definitely
it's not gonna work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. I'm not saying you couldn't take him, Tommy. I'm just saying. I'm saying that it's his advantage, man. It's in in the woods, his territory. So yeah, man. It's not a fight I would want to go into. Yeah. Man, that is amazing, bro. That is amazing.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to definitely say that's what it is, but that's just the information I've got and what I've experienced. It adds up, and it's like, I do think that is a supernatural.
No,
I'm not saying all dogmen are supernatural, spiritual, but I think in this case, it is.
Oh, Tommy, I'm saying
possibly.
You got a dogman problem, bro. You got a dogman problem, bro. You got something going on there, man. We're gonna have to take some investigating on it. And so it's also another thing too, man. That like there's a saying there's a saying that I tell people, right? I get before I did this podcast, man. I was big into UFOs and aliens and cryptids, and people would ask me questions, man. And there's one thing I've always would tell people is that, going into the woods is not going to the park and walking the fountain park or whatever. Like, you got to be careful when you're in there because people are in there too, and people are dangerous, right? Like, and so, but another thing that I tell people as well is that ignore Native American legends at your own cost. If the Native Americans have named a mountain Death Mountain and they tell you don't climb that mountain, and you go climb that mountain, you're probably going to die, right? Because they it's not pick blackberries fun day Rainbow Mountain. You know what I'm saying? It's called Death Mountain, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when I hear the stories, and so pulling the threads, man, when I was learning about the Dogman and getting brought up to speed on it, and going back and hearing some of the Native American legends. But yeah, so when they talk about those legends with the Native Americans, they saw something, right? And they didn't call it a like a peacock man or a deer man. They called it a dog man, right? So like these aren't like new names that we're giving them, right? So the thing that you said that you encountered is real, and I can tell you it's real because another thing is that if you want a good Dogman story, we did a podcast on it, the Joe Barger story, where he shot a. Are you familiar with that story?
I believe so. Yes.
He shot and killed a Dogman in the Manatee National Forest up in Michigan, right? And it was turned out that it was a Department of Homeland Security asset that they were, and it leads credibility. It leads credibility to the, that we're breeding these things, or we're creating them, and that we're sending them into these caves in these woods for a reason. Something's in there that they're sending in there to fight. And Joe Barger also was talking. Well, there's also a good series on the YouTube called The Missing 411. And if you take the Missing 411 map and you lay it over the United States of America, it's all the national forest, and all the national forests have these massive cave systems in it. So I mean, I would just be willing to bet if they keep that data in the UK, and you took the UK where people go missing and you lay it down, there's something specific about that area that's causing these types of activity. And the spiritual aspect to me is when your daughter said she saw something, right? Was she your youngest daughter or your oldest daughter by chance?
That was my oldest.
Yeah, so
she was 11 at the time.
Yeah, so scientists have came out stating that children's development of their mind is in a state called theta. Have you ever heard about this? The theta vibrations, and it makes them more sensitive to. So that's how they learn to speak so quickly when they're kids. They're in the theta learning stages of their lives, right? And kids see stuff we don't, man. They're just more tuned into it. And a dog or an animal definitely sees things that we are not tuned into, man. And so like your daughter seeing it, the dog seeing it, you getting that feeling, the
I've
Lord,
got to say as well.
the Lord.
So once I found out about the devil dog,
mm-hmm.
I never heard that growling outside the window again after that.
Right.
Which I find quite strange as well.
Yeah.
But it was quite a regular thing for me to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of became, it was quite normal, to be sitting there at night and hearing something growling outside. And again, definitely not saying it was the devil, but
it's a devil dog.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's a devil dog, Tommy. Yeah, devil dog trying to stick your head out there, right? Yeah, no, that's an amazing story, man. And like, wow. But yeah, yeah, man, the laws of attraction too, bro. Like, you were wanting to see something, you could feel something, and then and then it got you in that area to take a look at it. Yeah,
Be
man.
careful what you wish.
Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, so I mean, in the Appalachias over here, they have I've heard stories. When I joined the Navy, I left and I was on duty. I was 18 years old. I thought everybody grew up like I did, man, about Bigfoot stories and weird witches and like weird shit, right? And people are like, man, where'd you grow up? And I'm like, where'd you grow up? They're like, Ohio. And I'm like, y'all don't have that in Ohio? Like, no, we don't have that in Ohio. I was like, oh man, like that's we don't even get upset about that. Like that's like people don't even, that's nothing. You know what I'm saying, right? So yeah, man. And so that town, and you said you moved into that town, man. They're probably like, oh yeah, it's the devil dog back there. Just don't stay out of there on every third Tuesday. Stay out of there, right? You can't do it.
Yeah. It is weird that we're experiencing that. When you think about the podcast that I do, it sounds mad, and I know people are going to be like, really, like, are you making more of it? But That's honestly what it is. That's honestly what I've experienced here. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I've experienced other weird stuff in the house as well, like shadow figures and things like
Yeah.
that, which I don't know if that's connected to it as well, possibly, but
So
yeah,
yeah,
weird.
no, you did a good job telling that story because I would have told it like I was in the woods and I felt something behind me and I turned and looked and there it was, 15 feet tall, covered in blood. Is that right?
Yeah.
I couldn't run. All I had was my pen. I had to fight.
Yeah.
Is that right? So yeah,
And my spray.
had my spray right. But no, there's a good thing. So a buddy of mine, his name is Scott. He has a good Instagram channel called At Mysterious Planet, right? And he is huge into Skinwalker Ranch, right? And we did an episode on that, and there is something to be said. You're not wrong about your theory about them being connected because there's something to be said about these ley lines or these energy lines, or there's something that we just don't really comprehend. We just can't understand what it is specifically about that area that would cause that area to be more super active. But Drewski was telling me a story about 2 weeks ago about how he had to, I'm going to leave the locations out. He had to help, him and his team had to help somebody because they moved into an area and something happened and they thought that they would be able to gift this creature something, and when they gifted it, man, like 5 other ones showed up. Crazy weird stuff started happening, right? So like there's like there whatever it is that's going on, something's going on, whatever it is. There is definitely, it's not a one-off, there's definitely like a connection, right? Like people, like we were, people see people see Bigfoots, they see orbs. People see shadow people, then all of a sudden poltergeist activity is going on in their house or something like that, right? It's never, there's these little things that like, have you seen the gnomes? The little weird gnomes or whatever? So this is something I'm learning about as well, but like they're big in South America, but they also some up in like northeast of America towards Maine. They call them the pugwudgies or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they look like they're evil garden gnome looking little things, man. And mischief starts happening. And then when I even pull up this triggered a memory over there, talking about the Fae, specifically in Ireland, they talk about, they refer to these things as the little people, but they're the same things that we have over here and down in South America. They just call them a different name, but they're the same things, right? And they do the same weird stuff, right? And there's so many tales, right? And I know, and this is going to sound, I know I'm taking your Dogman thing and I'm running hard with it, bro, but there are so many tales of, especially from what I've read in Ireland, I'm sure they're in the UK, about people experiencing large amount of missing time interacting with these creatures, right? And so whatever the dog could see that we could not see, I have a theory that sometimes that's not there right now where we're at. It's there, but it's somewhere a little bit different than that. Like it's about to come out, or it just left, or so many like stories of people talking, especially over here. There was a good story about a Bigfoot. This didn't have an orb on it, right? About this lady, I think she was in Kentucky, maybe West Virginia, and she said there was a Bigfoot out by her shed, and she drew down on it with a shotgun, and she blasted at it, and it blinked, and the pellets hit the side of the shed that it was at, but it was fine. It was there, and then it was gone, and then it was right back, like that fast, right? So we don't know what these things are, but I can tell you that like time has told these tales a lot longer than we've been alive. They're older than we are. They've been here longer than we are, and their abilities and stuff are something that we probably just can't really comprehend. That they're not limited to what we
And
can do.
they show up in every culture around the world.
Every culture.
You know, they're everywhere, and and as you said, they're called different names.
Yeah.
You know, they might be slightly different in description, but they're pretty much the same thing. You got Dogman, you got Bigfoot,
Yeah.
you got little people all around the world, and in all culture.
Yeah, and it was like I was telling my buddies at our last podcast. If you look at the Sumerian tablets, man, I forget what they were, the language. I always draw a blank on what language they were written in. But in the oldest written language of Sumeria, it talks about vampires, talks about werewolves, talks about Bigfoot. I think that the guy Gilgamesh had a Bigfoot best friend called Enkidu, and we just pretend that's not a thing, right? So, Book of Enoch talks about how even the Bible says the Watchers sinned against nature, sinned against every animal. They made hybrids, right? These things were created, right? In America, it's not illegal to create animal human hybrids. They tried to pass a bill in 2022 making it illegal, and the Department of Homeland Security killed the bill. You can, in America, the U.S. government it is legal to create animal human hybrids, right? And it leads to the one of the I forget who said it, man. It was saying they were saying that the reason why they're slow walking the disclosure on the aliens is because it will open up a fire hose of all the other stuff that's going on, and they say that people just will not be able to handle all that information, right? And so I'm like, let it roll, baby. Let's get it out here. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Right? Let's go, man.
There's so much going on around us that we can't always see. Now, this is my theory anyway. We can't always see it. And, for whatever reason, we just sometimes get a glimpse into that other dimension, other realm, whatever it is. And, we see something, and it's there, but it's not.
Yeah. And so, and the UK is, I mean, the UK is so old, bro. It is so old. And the history and the wars and the strangeness and the legends that go on in there, man. The giants that were talked about over there, the weird shit that they do when y'all make a new ruler or whatever your new emperors over there, right? Like the secret blankets, the touching, all that weird. It's not just like, hey, welcome, and he's walking around. It's like, no, sit on this stone, sit on this chair, put this blanket on him, turn this around. So what is all that, right? So. But and another thing too, that just there's also, I read a story one time about an island that appears off the coast of the UK called New Brazil. Have you ever heard about this island?
I have heard about this. It's not always there.
It's not always there, man. But somebody found it one time, went on there, and they were 6 foot tall rabbit people on it. There was a great big tower. They told him to leave. They were nice to him. He left, and then it blinked. And supposedly this thing shows up every now and then. And actually, you had a famous UFO sighting in an air base over there. I forget where it was at, where a black triangle UFO landed.
Oh, Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah,
Rendlesham Forest.
Do you know that when he touched that thing, that it printed in his mind the coordinates for New Brazil? He said.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said that on the aircraft, he said that the aircraft itself was covered in what he described as hieroglyphics, not necessarily Egyptian hieroglyphics, but in something. And he said that when he touched it, he got some kind of crazy mega download, and one of the things that was in there was how to get to New Brazil, right? And that is so. And so a lot of people say, "Oh no, that didn't happen," right? First of all, at 100% happened, right? 100% happened. 100%. The U.S. we were not supposed to have nuclear weapons in England. We wasn't supposed to be there. That base was not supposed to be manned like that. Our governments knew about it. Security on that place, hella crazy tight, right? They had guns. They had guns in there. That thing landed. They deployed. They researched it. That 100% happened. And I just thought to myself that was such an obscure fact that 9 out of 10 people aren't going to have no clue what that guy was talking about. But I was like, man, I can't believe he just said that. That this thing told me how to get to New Brazil. And it's just a damn island off the coast that just appears every now and then, and it's like just goes away, right? And I was like, man, yeah, England's great,
That's
man.
wild.
Like it's like
There's a lot of weird stuff.
yeah, man, like just the also I'm a big history buff, right, man, too, and like just I think the UK has like really like good history as far as it, and it goes into it. I mean, I know you probably might think it's, you know, boring over there. You don't have guns. I get that.
Well, you think we're quite small, really. The UK is pretty small,
Yeah.
but we sort of spread out around the
Yeah.
world. For a little island, pretty
Yeah.
much, we done pretty well.
No, you really have, man. And the thing too is that I did not always know just how small you were. I had because America is massive, you know. And it was funny. Do you know what? Do you know when I realized that you guys were actually that you got how small you were? Is that I heard, I don't really know the geography very well. I heard a girl complaining that her mother gets mad at her because she won't ever come and see her, and she was like, "But mom, it's a 1 hour car drive there and back." And I'm like, 1 hour? I was like, what?
Yeah, that's nothing. I know.
That's nothing. What? It's like, no, what? I'm like, nah, like you can drive 12 hours in Texas and still be in Texas. You know what I'm saying?
I know. People are like that in the UK. It's weird. Like, and people are like, "Oh, it's a 15-minute drive. I mean, do we really want to go there?" I'm like, "Are you sure? Like, it's 15 minutes." People are like that in the. I know, because I talk to I've got a lot of friends in America, obviously, and you know, when I tell them I'm like 2 hours from London, that's like nothing.
Nothing.
You know, 2 hours is nothing. It's not really. But when my family that I've left, I say left, that they're still there in London, you know, they'll talk as if I'm like on another planet. They're like, "Oh, you're in Dorset now. Yeah, I know. You're never going to see us. You know, it's 2 hours, man."
You're starting to sound like them. You starting to talk like them.
Thing. Yeah.
I don't even know you.
They do talk different around here.
Do they? I don't even know you. On Saturday, I'm driving 3 hours to a Bigfoot conference, bro.
Yes.
I'm so excited, man. I'm pumped up for that. Oh man. Wow, that is great, Tommy. That is great, man.
Thing.
Wow, that is a good conversation, dude. And like man, that's really good. And wow.
Thank you, brother.
Cryptids over there in the UK, man. And I just thought it was all tea and soccer or football. Sorry. Tea and football over there. No, man. Deep history. So dude, real quick, man, before I let you go, dude, like, do you guys have like any specific like superstitions to the UK?
Oh man.
Because the nutters over here, man, they won't even walk through the same door. If they go into a house, they got to leave the way they came in. I mean, there's all kinds of weird stuff that I call them nutters.
Oh, you got that in the UK. You got that in the UK as well,
really?
For sure.
Yeah.
Very superstitious. Won't walk under a ladder.
Yeah,
that's one. What else is there? If you break a mirror, you're bad luck for 7 years.
Just kill yourself. You're done.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done.
You're done. You might as well
You're never
give
going to
up.
come back from that, right? You're never going to come back from that. No.
Yeah. What I've learned from doing the podcast and meeting people in the US and in Australia and around the world, but we're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like we all, that's, and I love that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
We might talk a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
you sound better than me. Yeah.
No way. No way, man.
You sound better than me. This accent I got, man. Yeah, no. Yeah.
No, I love it. I'm moving to the US, so I'm gonna adopt the accent.
Come on, man. Where are you gonna land?
I'm thinking New England
Okay.
at the moment. That's the goal, because you know it's all the same names as here in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's called the same, so it's like home from home.
No,
I think it's where.
No, New England's it's a nice place, man. It's a good place. Like it's.
I want a cabin in the woods.
Oh, then that's the place, man. That's the place. So I would also tell you too that New England, probably very similar weather than probably what you could experience over there. Cold.
Yeah.
Wet, cloudy over there. I don't know specific parts of where you're located. I'm guessing it's 2 hours away. Is not that far, man. I know that somebody told me the wettest winter they ever had was a summer in the UK.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
all right, man. That's pretty good, man. Yeah, the wettest winter I ever had was the summer in the UK. Yeah, so
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It rains a lot here.
yeah, that's awesome, man. All
So,
right, Tommy, man, that's great, man. Hey, look, all right, so look, I got to tell you what I do with everybody. Now I got you. You understand? So now, man, like, be prepared. You're gonna be the only one that I'm not gonna feel bad. I still do it to send messages to at 2 a.m. my time because you're awake.
cool.
So,
yeah, I'm up. I live on EST in Eastern time. That's my time.
yeah, that's it, man.
You can message me anytime, brother.
So, yeah, man, for real, man. So sometimes, like, I'll get up about 2 or 3. I'll get on my phone. I'm doing some research, and I'm like, oh man, look at this video. I'm like, damn, man, I better not send that. Like, all right, well, Tommy, you're getting them, man. Hey, look, check this out video.
Send them over.
Sometimes it's a dog that's bouncing his head like that. Anyways, Tommy, man, I'm glad, man, you're a keeper, dude. Tell everybody once more time, man. I'm gonna put it in the description, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
So we're on all the main podcast platforms. Let's Get Freaky Podcast. Tommy Cullum's Let's Get Freaky Podcast. We are on YouTube. We're on all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X. Let's Get Freaky Podcast. Come and say hi. If you've got a paranormal experience to share, I'd love to hear it. So come and say hi.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Let's Get Freaky Podcast is definitely co-signed by the Ancient Enigma Files. It's a good channel, man. You got some good stuff on there, man. It is a good channel. Anyways, you, Tommy, wrap this up. All right, you losers. You know how we do. If you're stuck around this time long, nerds, you're all kinds of losers, man. So look, pound that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment. I don't care what it is. I don't care what you do to that bell. That bell's stupid. I don't care what you do with that bell. Go out there. Give Tommy a follow on all those platforms, man. It is well worth it. It is free. You guys lose nothing. And another thing too, Tommy, I don't know about you, man, but like I got a message the other day from Instagram saying that my account interacts with 200,000 a month, and I'm like, wow, I only got 10,000 followers. This is why, because you cryptid curious people peeking through the windows, watching my videos. Come on, man. Come on in here. Hit that follow button. Hit the subscribe. Go give Tommy a bump, man. His channel is awesome. And let's Get Freaky Podcast. All right, Tommy.
Thank you very much, brother.
You got to agree to come back, man.
100%. Anytime, man.
100%.
I'd love to.
All right, nerds. We're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.